Please welcome Richard Widmann with the Web3 world according to Google Cloud.
Hey everyone, thanks for coming today. Sorry, I have a very loud voice, so not used to talking with a microphone. But for those of you who don't know me, my name's Rich Widmann. I'm the global head of strategy for Web3 and digital assets at Google Cloud. And I am part of this talk track that if you've been at Consensus for the last couple of days, you've heard from a few other layer ones, that is the Web3 world according to someone. And I actually heard somebody's also now already on Web 5, so we're just, what I prepped is Web 3, so we're just gonna have to bear with me here. But I think you guys can kind of guess when you hear about Avalanche talking about this and the Near protocol and Algorand, and then you have Google. You know, which of these doesn't belong? And what I'm here to tell you today is why we do belong. And what our views are for where the space needs to go within the next 6 to 12 months in order to overcome some of the greater challenges that we're seeing as we start to hit this threshold around global adoption. So it would be nice if we could just pump this into Google right now and ask this question and get a great answer. But hopefully what we're going to do today is talk a little bit about our views. And at some point in time, our objective is that when you pump this into Google search and you're looking and trying to figure out what Web3 is about, the answers will become obvious. So our view today is that this is fundamentally an infrastructure revolution. And my clicker's not working, but we're just going to roll with it. There's supposed to be a beautiful slide here that shows you what a global data center looks like. Right now, I am not hearing enough discussion at this conference, or even in the other sessions, about the importance of infrastructure. We cannot onboard the next billion users into this ecosystem if we do not think about the importance of laying planetary scale infrastructure that is analogous to what we have in the Web 2 context. At Google, most people don't know this, we have 19 undersea cables. We have several dozen data centers distributed all over the world. And our view is that the fundamental challenge that we need to solve, that founders and builders need to solve, is the ability to launch applications on top of a global network of nodes, both archival, RPC, and validator, with ease. Most founders here today don't get excited about nodes. Most people here aren't excited about nodes. What you are all here for is building the applications that are going to attract the next billion users into this ecosystem. Things that operate as simply as Google search. But you cannot do that if you're spending significant time and resources trying to figure out how to deploy a node on a layer 1 protocol. And so our view is that in order to get to this next level, we can help builders and developers deploy that infrastructure with ease. There's another point I want to talk about today, which is people only talk about infrastructure when it breaks. No one really thinks about TCP/IP when you were trying to Google, your way to the conference, or you're asking a question about who's speaking today. And that's because what the Web 2 ecosystem has done really well is we've abstracted away the underlying infrastructure. And in order for us to move into this next phase of blockchain adoption, I think we need to move away from the discussions around just what's happening at the layer 1 protocols. If your users are thinking about your layer 1 protocols when they're using your applications, we've lost the script. No one cares about TCP/IP. They care about being able to find the things on the internet that make their lives easier. And so our view is we can help abstract away that infrastructure element for builders and founders so that it's invisible for their users too. The last thing I want to point out here is just the scope and the scale of the challenges at hand. I thought about putting this slide up and not attributing it to anybody, at least at first. But I think if you look at the date, it's a little bit of a It's a little bit of a shock to some people here. And the reason is because if I didn't put the date there and I didn't attribute it, you probably would have thought it came from a panel that somebody spoke on yesterday. This problem of decentralization, the problem of building censorship-resistant, globally distributed networks, is a 50-year problem. It's not a problem that just started with Satoshi's white paper. And so what our point of view on this is, and when we talk to founders, what we try to get across the line, is that none of us are going to be able to build that global infrastructure, to abstract away the blockchain, to onboard 1 billion users by ourselves. And we're certainly not going to be able to do it with the purity tests of Web 2 versus Web 3, or consensus mechanism versus consensus mechanism. And so I want everyone to walk away with this understanding that when we think about these networks, when we think about the power of blockchain and open source distributed protocols, it's really all about not markets alone. It's about fulfilling the fundamental promise of the internet. The idea that individuals ought to have democratized access to information. That was the beginning of Web 1. And then there was a realization that individuals shouldn't just be able to access information, but they also should have a voice. And that was Web 2. And now we're moving into a stage with Web 3. We'll talk about Web 5 later. And Web 3 is about individuals being able to get access to information, being able to have a voice online, but then also have the ability for ownership. It's the democratization of ownership that makes Web 3 powerful. And so when we meet with founders, we have a number of partners that we've talked about, and I don't have time to go through all of it, but one of the questions that I like to ask, first, right out of the gate with builders is, are you here just for markets, or are you here on a mission? Some of the folks that hopefully you've met today at Google and Google Cloud are all here for this mission. And so if this is interesting to you, if this is exciting, this is a demarcation of our entrance into the space. We're looking forward to partnering with you and working with you all, not just to build the next generation of markets, but to fulfill the fundamental promise of the internet. So if this excites you, I hope you come and talk to us. I know there's a cannabis panel after this, so I don't know if they set me up. But thank you so much for coming. I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of the conference and have a good rest of your weekend.